And well, first of all, I should get this hair correct, huh? This hair is starting to get a little volume here at the back. But hey, so everybody, we were just talking today, and this is going to be a little more casual. We just wanted to talk about some of the highs and lows of cannabis, and it's been such an interesting ride because if you look at this world, it's constantly changing, and there's so many new things that come up that we're like, yes, that's really good for cannabis. And at the same time, we're also like, oh no, that's really shitty for people too. And so we've just been sort of weighing out some of these like highs and lows of cannabis and just recognizing, like, again, just coming back to like, we often laugh sometimes about how I like to give a story like, well, what is this like Delta 8 and hemp and cannabis thing? And the best way I can explain it is like, well, you know, the way there's like, we had like burgers, right? And then we have like Impossible Burgers. So it's like, it's a vegan burger. It's a vegan burger, but it's still a burger. It's like, this is sort of what hemp is. It's like, it's cannabis, but it's not like this cannabis over here. But the funny thing is now we've got like thc-a hemp, which is like, well, we were a vegan burger, but now we're like a meat burger, but we're selling it like a vegan burger, but it's actually not a vegan burger, it's a real burger. But the way that this classification works in different states, this vegan burger here can actually have meat in it, right? Which is just ridiculous. As crazy as it is, it's the same thing as saying like, hey, this is non-alcoholic wine over here, and this is alcoholic wine, right? And so it's like, okay, we recognize like we need two sides of the coin, alcoholic, non-alcoholic. But now this is like, well, this non-alcoholic can actually have some levels of alcohol in them as long as it's like not the same alcohol as the one over here. And as long as it's got less than 0.3, it's still like a non-alcoholic beverage. That's where we are with hemp. As crazy as that is, that's where we are with hemp. And so let's look at some of the beauties of this as well as some of the lows, because like, I constantly find myself going back and forth, right? Of like, oh, these fucking people, like, not adequate testing. There's all these shysters in the market. But at the same time, you know what? We've also had like a lot of access being given to people that didn't have it. And so that's super cool too. So let's get into some of the highs and then we'll do the lows. So number one is, of course, access to products, right? I think it's phenomenal how the hemp and cannabis industry has, you know, God willing, right? We somehow have this, like, this cannabis plant is not going back in the bottle, right? The genie is out and it is going to every state, no matter what. And whether it's called hemp or whether it's called cannabis, it's coming to somewhere close to you. And there's no way that you can stop this train. And so whether it's thc-a hemp or it's medical marijuana, it is coming. And so it's really wonderful that that is available. Number two is a lot of the stuff that we have looked at, like over-regulation in the marijuana industry, has really provided much more access to small companies like ours, that we can actually get a piece of this pie and we don't need like $1 million. Really good. We also have banking. That's super cool that we actually can have banking. It's already clearly laid out, right? Like if you actually think about it, the hemp laws are more clear than the cannabis laws. Like the cannabis laws are basically like bending the rules for something that is still a Schedule 1 substance. But when we come to marijuana, thc-a hemp, it's already clearly laid out. Another good thing is that there's no dosing caps. So this also, again, positive and a negative too, because it's also like, okay, if someone needs a 100 milligram gummy the first time, they're not going to have a good time. But if you've got cancer, it's going to be the best thing for you, and you're not going to break the bank like you would have to in a medical marijuana field. It really leads to empowered purchasing. So rather than you having to go to your doctor, hey, try this, try that, try these other things, you can say, hey, I'm going to choose gummies, I'm going to choose smokables, I'm going to choose these other capsules. And if that works for me, I don't need somebody else to tell me. However, the downside with that is that you could also get products that aren't fully tested, aren't fully regulated, and you may think you're getting something that you're not. That's a big downside. There's also no testing standard, unified testing standards across the board. So what is tested in one place, it can test somewhere else differently. That leads to how do you get accurate dosing? How do you know what's working for you? So it is a little bit more unclear there. The other thing too is that the laws, while it is clear in stone, we're still in a new industry. So there's police forces, government officials that don't really know what's legal, what's not. So you could still run into issues with the law, which is of course a pain in the side. The other thing too, when it comes to like regulation versus like lack of regulation, is like the fact that like NyQuil and Daco were basically just said that like, yo, you know this shit we've been selling you for like the past 20 years and telling you to like drink this. Don't do that shit anymore, right? So, you know, it's like, we're just reading as well about like the if you've ever heard of SSRIs, they're used for people who've got depression. Basically shuts off certain things in your head that makes you feel shitty about yourself. But the thing is that it also leads to like serious sexual malfunctions later on. And it's just like, wait, what? Like, I wouldn't have taken that if you told me that like I wasn't going to be able to get going. And then there was also something else recently about antidepressants not actually doing anything to stop you being depressed. So it makes you wonder, like, we've put all our power into a lot of these people or these companies, and it's been like lies and bullshit. So you have the capabilities now to take back the power yourself, to say like, I did my own research. I don't need, or this is the thing, do we really need all, like, hey, we went through all these hoops to make all these compounds that is very linear and narrow-minded and focused for this one specific illness, and it has lots of these side effects. Or you can just say, I researched this myself, I watched YouTube videos, I found good companies that I liked, and these products make me feel good. I don't need a government body to tell me that. So I think it's pretty cool. And not only that, but you don't need to go to jail for smoking cannabis. 0 people have died from cannabis. So I think it is really important that this is out there. I think, you know, like I said, God willing, right? For some reason, this thing is exploded. And it's, and even in ways which I can't even imagine, like, but the THCA hemp is just like insane that THCA hemp is literally cannabis in other states. So for all these states that were more conservative, they didn't have the access, they now have the access to it. This is wonderful news. So let us know in the comments below, what's your journey been like through cannabis? And yeah, let us know. We'll talk soon.